Parenting is a ongoing opportunity to learn, and today I want to share with you the one skill that I am working on as a parent of 4 children, almost 5, that I have not mastered. So I'm not presenting this to you as like I've nailed this and this is what you should do too, but I want to share with you the process of how I got to my one skill and what that skill is and why I think it's really important and can benefit a lot of us from working on it.
Hi, I'm Jessica Jackson, and this is the new way to thrive in motherhood by leaning into who you are, what you love, your unique family situation, and personal mission to create a life that you actually want to live. I want to invite you to join me in saying no to the life of the exhausted supermom, burnout, victim thinking, being pulled in so many directions, suffering through survival mode, or being lost in motherhood, and say yes to building strong families and moving forward on our greatest goals in order to create a fulfilling life that we are excited to wake up to each day and become a soaring mother. This is the Thriving in Motherhood podcast.
If this episode is resonating with you and helping you, I want to invite you to watch my free workshop, Plan a Week You Can Win. It is designed to help you figure out how to do more of what you want in your everyday life and reduce the things that you don't want to be doing that are pain points and struggles, and how do you put it all together in a realistic way where you're managing the stuff that has to get done and also creating space for those things that you want to do. So you can find that at thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/win. I'm in a season, pregnant with our 5th, homeschooling 4 kids. It's been cold here in Georgia, so we've been inside a lot more than normal. And so there's probably a little bit of cabin fever here. We're not like going out a lot during the week. And there's been just a lot more like frustrations and contention and problems amongst each other as we're together all the time. And I mean, like normal level stuff, but different than when we're just like, oh, I don't know. When we're all outside, everybody's happy. So there was some of that this week and also some frustrations. And anyway, I also find though that it pushes me, like when you add pregnancy feelings plus like lots of other feelings, it can really quickly put me into this like fight or flight state, especially my energy's so limited. And if I'm trying to like gather the troops and do something with them and, even something they want to do, like if it's not happening on my time frame, I find that I'm very short, like with my patience, and just get easily frustrated. And anyway, so we had one of those situations with one of my kids, and I responded in a way that I was not very pleased with, like my tone of voice and how I was talking to this child. And so I followed up with them later that day after we'd both we did the things, but we calmed down, and I had a chance to calm down. They were fine, but I was not, and I apologized to them for how I spoke to them. And because something did need to be said, but the tone of voice that I used, I was not very pleased with myself. And they just said, "Oh, it's okay, Mom. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I'm sorry." And they apologized and owned up to their role in the situation. But I realized in that moment that, and again, I've been praying a lot about this, but I feel like the words that were given to me in that moment were very instructive, because I said, well, I appreciate that and thank you, but even when you're making bad choices, I still want to be respectful towards you. And that was just, I feel like, what God was teaching me in that moment of, this is the skill that I need to work on. Even when any one of or all of my children are making bad choices, that I am still treating them with respect. Now, there's some phases and stages where this is not quite as hard for me, like the early years that I've gone through many times, that one feels a little bit easier. The stakes are typically lower. Kids are little, but especially as I've gotten kids that are getting older, we're hitting those teenage years, and some of these bigger, they've got ways with words, and it's amazing at how quickly I can get sucked up into something and lose, that ability to not be respectful in the way that I want to be. And so, anyway, that is my skill. And I think what I love about it is it's so simple. Like, as I think about all the parenting books out there that I've read and all of the do's and the don'ts and the scripts and the suggestions, for me, I was realizing if I break it all down to this one concept of whether they're making, no matter what type of choices they're making, that I'm treating with them respect, it seems to encapsulate everything, at least for me. So for me, when I think of this, I think, first of all, it assumes that each one of my children, it's the Charlotte Mason principle, are born persons, right? Each one of them is a person worthy of respect. You know, we could go with the C.S. Lewis route of they are immortal beings in mortal bodies, right? That they are godlike and should be treated as such, right? But whatever lens, you know, children of God, however you want to look at it, the point is that my children, even at the, you know, from baby on up, they are people worthy of respect and to be treated. And when I say respect, I think that means the tone of voice, your body language, you're listening to them, that there's like a Stephen Covey 7 Habits, like seeking to understand, you know, wanting to find win-wins, that in the disciplining and correcting, it's done in like proper tone of voice, proper, you know, respectful tone of voice, and done with a, you know, teaching in mind, not a anger, like taking it out, you know, in an angry way, right? It's done very with the goal of, hey, this is a learning moment. This is a teaching moment. How can we use this to build us up? How can we use this to build the relationship? Anyway, and I think, and I realize, like, anytime when I'm feeling like guilty because of how I interacted with one of my kids or the group of them, if we're in a group situation, is if I stopped being respectful. And so I guess that's my parenting vision. It's my parenting mantra for this season. It's the lesson that I'm working on learning. I feel like it's the one that, I was like praying. I was like, I need divine intervention in my parenting right now. And I feel like this is what I was given. And so I'm sharing it with you. One, maybe it'll resonate with you. Everything, you know, all of our journeys in parenting and our families are so unique. And so I don't think that this should be your rule necessarily either. But also with hope that I've gotten a lot of encouragement as I was listening to some parenting experts that went and got degrees later in life. So they'd already raised children and they went back and got their masters. There's one woman in particular. And for her, it was incredible because she came without any parenting skills into motherhood, she felt like. And yet when she got to her master's after having done parenting, she was amazed at how she had received that expertise through answers to prayers in little ways over, you know, decades of parenting that were confirmed in her educational studies. And later on, she'd go, oh, so this is the fancy word for that, or this is what it meant. And just that she had so much confidence that God taught her how to be a good parent, even without all of the experts. Do I think experts are helpful? Yes. I mean, I read so many books, like, widely and deeply on all topics. I think it's wonderful. But at the end of the day, like, we can't do it all and we can't prioritize everything. And so I think good information improves revelation, right? So the more we study, like, the more that God can maybe work with us there and bring ideas to our mind. But at the same time, like, he can just speak pure truth to us as we need it, that's relevant to us and our children and what we need. And so, and I think, like, sometimes it's easier to just turn on a self-help book, turn on a parenting book, turn on a parenting podcast. But just this reminder that God wants to help us. He loves our kids even more than we do. He understands us all better than we understand ourselves. And we can rely on him to help teach us and guide us in the day-to-day of our lives, especially when it comes to our parenting. So he might have a different lesson or a phrase or principle for you to work on right now, but I wish you the best, and I would love for you to let me know in the comments maybe what it is that you're working on in your parenting right now, or what maybe you want to ask about in your parenting, because it's easy to go on autopilot. It's easy to just, you know, like we've been talking here for years now, it's easy to be aware of the problems and not do anything about it and be frustrated with the relationships that we are confronted with every single day, or feel like we don't have any influence here. But there is something when we slow down long enough to realize it. And I even realize sometimes my heart isn't like, I know that I need to change how I'm responding to a circumstance or a child, and it's hard. Like it doesn't come naturally to me. It's not what I want to do. I want to be prideful. I want to dig in my heels. I don't want to go through the work and the effort of changing my choices and my behavior to improve the situation, right? But that's not how it works. And that, I think, is one of the blessings and joys of parenthood, is that we are given this opportunity to face the hard things, to improve ourselves and change and become more aware of the people around us, and to live based on principles instead of just how we're feeling, which is not a very reliable way to live. So I hope that you have a wonderful week, that this inspires you to think a little bit about your own parenting, and that you have I'll talk to you next week.
Where you are planted, watch the blossoms grow.